This week on The Travel Show.
We help celebrate 90 years of Australia's legendary Flying Doctors service.
Wow, what a remarkable bit of kit you got here.
Yes.
We investigate the mysterious ghost lights being spotted over a town in Texas. And head to China to try out a style of skiing that's reckoned to be over 8,000 years old. This week, I'm in Australia's Northern Territory. This massive state covers nearly 1.5 million square kilometers. It's the most sparsely populated part of Australia, and living out here can be hard.
Because of the sheer size of this part of the country, air travel has been an important part of life in the Northern Territory for the past 100 years.
And it's also the reason that the Royal Flying Doctors Service was set up 90 years ago, pioneering the then revolutionary idea of using planes to bring medical care to remote communities. I've come to their central operation base in Alice Springs Airport. From here, the service dispatches emergency response planes all over the Northern Territory, and it's a busy place. As we arrived, we were just in time to see one of the planes bringing in patients from the outback.
One of the planes just arrived. 2 patients have been taken off and they're being whisked away to hospital, but it's a perfect opportunity to see what's on board, as one of the senior flight nurses, Kathy, is waiting for me.
The service's fleet of planes are packed with cutting-edge medical equipment ready for any emergency.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, thanks, Henry.
Wow, what a remarkable bit of kit you got here.
Yes.
So explain exactly what we actually have here.
Well, we've got a mini intensive care unit, really. We have monitoring, we have drugs on board, we have anything to do with, like you'd see in an intensive care unit. We take anything from a sore toe to a fully intubated patient who's probably had some trauma or a cardiac arrest or something like that.
And so how many square kilometers do you actually cover out of this base in particular?
We cover just over 1 million square kilometres, which is about 4 to 5 times Great Britain.
Wow.
In that area.
That is a lot of ground to cover. And so how essential would you say the Royal Flying Doctor Service is to the people of the outback?
Extremely important. It's their lifeline. If they had to come by road, it'd be up to 8 hours by road, and the roads aren't always that good, and there's camels and donkeys and potholes and water, as opposed to probably up to an hour's flight time. So they get into definitive care much quicker.
But the high-tech standards we see today didn't just happen overnight. In 1917, founder Reverend John Flynn first had the idea of creating a flying doctor's service, but it took him another 10 years to turn his plans into a reality, and the first planes took to the skies in 1928. Those first planes were very basic bone shakers by today's modern standards, but slowly innovations like pedal-powered radio were introduced, helping to build a lifeline between the flying doctors and the remote communities they served.
This time, the Doctor is landing on a regular periodic visit. Sisters Tar and Ross are waiting as it lands, welcoming former RAAF pilot Alan Chadwick and the Society's woman doctor, Dr. Miller.
News of the success of those early pioneers quickly spread, and eventually the service became a national network across Australia, and in 1955, Queen Elizabeth visited from the UK to officially bestow the service with its royal title. Today, as modern planes and medicine help save even more lives, the story of the Flying Doctors continues to capture the public's imagination around the world.
And tourism is a crucial source of income for the service. Here at the Flying Doctors tourism facility, visitors can learn how the service works and what flying was like back in the day. "90 years of history are brought to life with some of the objects that made it all possible.
Even the building itself is historic.
This building behind us was the original building in Alice Springs, and this is where we ran our head office and also our communications department. So it's a listed heritage in building, and it's now our tourist facility and cafe.
As well as educating tourists about the service, the facility and shop provide a crucial source of income.
So how important is tourism to funding services like the Royal Flying Doctors?
Tourism is extremely important. 100% of our profits from the tourist facility goes back to the Royal Flying Doctor service. It helps fund the purchasing and also the medical equipping of our aircraft. We have 25% of our funding as a gap which needs to be filled, and that's where our money comes from.
Over the decades, the Flying Doctor service has saved countless lives. And it's amazing to think that's thanks to a small-town church minister who wanted to do his bit to help people living out in the bush. Something tells me he would be very proud of the people who still fly to save lives today.
Now we've gone from just a few planes to 67 aircraft from 24 different locations in and around Australia.
But next up, we leave the Australian outback behind and head to America, where for over a century people have reported seeing strange lights above the horizon in the Texan town of Marfa. No one knows exactly what they are, but many people claim to have seen them, so we went to meet them.
This is Lon Taylor, the Rambling Boy, broadcasting live from Marfa Public Radio Studios in downtown Marfa, Texas. I want to say a few words about Marfa. It's a very small town, 2,000 people. It was a cattle town and a ranching town for many, many years. We've become an international art center, but we're still a small West Texas town, and it's an interesting combination. I have never seen the Marfa Lights. I've been told that the best time to see them is in the winter, a couple of hours after sundown or a couple of hours before sunrise. A couple of hours after sundown in the winter is my supper time, and a couple of hours before sunrise is my sleeping time. And besides that, it is cold out there at the viewing station in the wintertime. But I believe they are there. At least I believe something is there, because I know a lot of reliable people who have seen some sort of lights out on Mitchell Flat. Scoffers will tell you that the Marfa Lights are the lights of automobiles traveling north from Presidio on Highway 67, or the lights on ranches on Mitchell Flat, or the lights on airplanes or Border Patrol helicopters. Many people who think they are seeing the Marfa Lights are undoubtedly looking at automobile headlights or ranch lights, but it is clear that there were other lights out there before there were either automobiles or electricity in the Big Bend, and they are still out there.
I grew up in Marfa. See, I was born in 1950, I'm 67. So I've been around and I've seen the lights and have heard about them all my life. We show the lights regularly to people from our ranch. Today we're in front of the viewing center, which is on the road between Marfa and Alpine. It does cause some confusion because the way that it's pointed, the orientation points you to where it's easy to be misled by automobile lights that are coming over hills that are coming up from Presidio and Ojinaga. Not very many many people know that from right here, there's a mesquite tree right there. And if you stand about 10 yards from the mesquite tree and look straight ahead, there is a bush, there's another green bush, and you'll just see a line, if you really look, of little green bushes that form a line out to a tree. And that tree is about 1.5 miles over there. Right over the tree is where the lights are. I don't remember a single time that someone didn't say, "Have you seen the Marfa Lights?" And so now when people ask me if I've seen the lights, I ask them, "Have you seen the lights?" And most of them haven't. But the ones that have, they're the ones who are really interested in knowing what the lights are.
I came here about 3 years ago to Marfa and immediately fell for the landscape because it was so other, because it was not mine. It was great for writing. I was stalking the lights every night. Didn't see, I think maybe I saw something like them when I wasn't paying attention one night. But I tried very hard to find them and was like never quite sure. But I got this poem, which is called Western Poem. Purple clouds, my doubts. Iridescent cream, my loss. Amber streetlight, my reading, my appetite, my appetite. Red striped sky, my confusion. Bright yellow, gray sky, my ardor. Car lights, my commotion. Telephone pole, my wishes. Stop sign, my fear. Black cloud, white sky, bliss. Blinking signals, my intentions. Black mountains, too many suggestions. Skipping white lines, my attention. A young cowboy first saw the lights. A young cowboy first saw the lights. The horns on your van, my defensiveness. That old train, my dreams. That old train.
Still to come on The Travel Show.
The incredible journey of one woman who has a passion for wild swimming.
The water is my domain. I am happiest in there.
And we learn to ski the traditional Chinese way.
So stay with us for that.
Next up, we continue our series looking at incredible journeys happening around the world as we visit Snowdonia National Park in Wales. It's here where one woman's passion for swimming has led her to exploring this wild and unique landscape in a completely different way.
It feels pure. I don't think I feel anything more pure than swimming in a mountain lake. The water is my domain. I am happiest in there. My name's Vivian Rickman-Poole. Over the last few years, I've been exploring Snowdonia National Park by wild swimming. It's 250 lakes. From about 150 now. I'm always searching for somewhere for a quick swim. So if I can squeeze in a new lake, then I'll always go for that. Snowdonia National Park is a mountain range in North Wales. It's a beautiful area to live in. I mean, the mountains here feel very rugged and much more tightly packed. And in between that is where you get the lakes. And although they may be much smaller and a bit of a trek to get to, for me it makes it a little bit more special. I've always swam since childhood. My mum was a swimmer. Mum passed away 11 years ago, and I found the grieving was very hard for me. So I think the time alone was part of it. I do fanatically swim or obsessively swim now. and I didn't before. But I didn't make a conscious decision to start swimming in this way. It was definitely subconscious. I always have this, I call it like a nervous anticipation in my tummy. But the nerves can be intimidation, because sometimes the water is dark and you don't know what's inside, beasties or weeds, but that's all part of it for me, is wanting to feel those nerves. I'm not somebody who wants to dive down. Sometimes I just want to be submerged up to my shoulders and just feel that feeling of the cool freshness on my skin. Yeah, that sometimes is just enough for me. It's a time to leave everything behind, and that's a huge part for me. Documenting the lakes visually came about by being scared of what was underneath the surface. And I would take a camera under the water with me to capture what was in there. And I'd rush home to have a look to see what I captured, and discovered that there was nothing. I'd never saw anything, but occasionally I'd get a glimpse of myself on the camera, or other people that I was swimming with, and that there was a graceful beauty in seeing people's bodies underwater. You're seeing the landscape for a totally different reason. Most people come here to go climbing or to go, walking to the top of Snowdon or wherever. Because I'm going to see lakes, it's taken me to parts of the mountains I would never have gone to before. I have no desire to go to the top of anything anymore. Yeah, there's still so much more to discover.
Vivian Rickman-Poole, wild swimming in Wales, and we'll have more incredible journeys for you soon. To finish up though, we're off to China, which strangely for some has been described as the birthplace of skiing ever since cave paintings of Stone Age skiers were discovered in the country's Altai prefecture. We went to learn more.
9月份开始，这个慢慢那个山顶上慢慢下雪，12月份的时候天天下雪，然后这个地方的雪1米多厚。交通工具冬天就是马拉帕犁，马子做不了的话，可以用那个鼓浪毛皮滑雪板做。我叫马立新，今年40岁，40。和睦的牧民。我们家那个10个牛，还有然后20多个马友。就毛皮滑雪板就实际上是木头烧起来，球杆少一点的话就好一点。这个刀的话拼那个滑雪板容易的。我们爸爸的一代就是这个黄木村子里面电也没有，电线也没有。那个时候这个黄木村子里面图案就是那个冬天就是皮毛滑雪板长期打来，然后那个路啊，那个雪大得很嘛，路上面跑的时候那个后面几行1个小时几刀，然后算一个大嘛。动物的皮子拿回来卖呀。宽了嘛。我8岁开始慢慢，那个时候那个爸爸的那个长板子就大得很，然后把胖子以前慢慢滑雪的嘛。 爸爸以前他们自己绕起来，然后我旁边看，然后后面我自己也学会了。那个马的腿前面的皮子很结实，然后那个滑子速度也快得很，还有那个山坡的速度抓地力也好得很嘛。电视那个东西没有嘛，天天那个鼓浪毛皮花山园那个村子里面好几个小伙子，咱还能进去玩嘛。现在的小孩就是不能玩的少得很啊。现在的小孩就是看电视嘛，这个样子。一旦那个鼓浪毛皮花山园比赛比一下，后面没有了。
I'm afraid that's all the time we have for this week, but coming up next week.
If your invite was lost in the post, like mine, Addie is in Windsor to find ways to experience Britain's upcoming royal wedding without heading to the church on the big day.
Don't forget you can follow us wherever we are in the world by joining our social media feeds. All of the details are on your screens now. But for me, Henry Golding, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in Alice Springs, it's goodbye.